There we go. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Friday. I said I would consider doing it tonight, and I decided to do it tonight. So, thank you guys so much for making me a part of your Friday night. I am back here with another live stream. We can really talk about whatever you guys want. The title is really just the title. Just another live stream. We can literally talk about whatever. We're gonna have call-ins. I left the Discord chat in the description. I actually think I fixed it so we can actually get the Discord audio in here. So things are good. And yeah, so how is everyone doing? Hopefully you could hear that because that is the sound of Discord. That means that is coming through on the stream and you guys can hop right in and I can well, let's see here. How are we going to do this? Okay. So we're going to have we're okay. So we're gonna have a user limit of two users. So me and someone else. So the first one that joins in, it's the live stream call in on Discord. First one that joins in, we can get you on the show and talk a little bit about. But yeah, this is an ask me anything type of live stream. Fridays, we'll unless crazy breaking news comes out or anything like that, the tone's going to be a little bit more laid back, more like a party type of tone. Just have people in here and you guys want to say your piece, absolutely. If you guys are trying feverishly to get into Discord, I will send you the link. But this is how we are going to be able to do what we're doing. So here's the Discord link. Click that and we'll go from there. So let's see here. What's up, Big Nate? Random guy says Trey Lance. I believe random guy is correct. I like Trey Lance a lot. Um, Jake from State Farm. Yeah, I haven't been called that at all. What's up, Rams House? I saw your previous comment that you shouted me out on your live stream. I would have joined your live stream if I saw it on my feed, so I apologize for that. I'll check it out next time though. Next year we have a first round. Yes, random guy. Next year we have a first round pick. Hope you're not talking about Rams drafting a quarterback. I really hope so. I might be. What position do you think the Rams need most? I mean, to be honest with you, probably quarterback right now. Just because they need to clear it out. They need to figure out what they're doing there. If it's Jared Goff, it's Jared Goff. If it's John Wolford, it's John Wolford. But they need to figure out the quarterback position more than anything, in my opinion. What's up, LA Rams? How we doing? All right, guys, don't leave me hanging. Come on, let's get in the Discord. I'm waiting on y'all. It's in the voice channels, and we'll just have people on. And since it's a relatively small stream tonight, we'll people that want to come on, they can stay on for however long as they want until the next person wants to come on. Vice versa. Okay. Okay. Where's THT? I don't know. But I got somebody in the live stream right now, so we're gonna get LA Ramboy 213 in here. How we doing, LA Ramboy? What's up? See if we can get you on this thing. No pressure. Everyone's just waiting for you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. As always, this show and every show that I do is brought to you unofficially by Canada Dry. So yeah, going back to your question about THT, are you talking about like why does he not play? Why does he not average 30 minutes per game? Because I couldn't tell you. He should. I have no idea. What happened to Micah Kaiser? Um, he got hurt, and Troy Reader took over. And honestly, I think Troy Reader's a better linebacker personally. But I can't believe next year we actually will have a first round pick. It's a miracle. And that's until we trade for Trey Lance, right? Um, you think Trey Lance goes in the top 10? I do. Do you think the 49ers will take Trey if he's available at 12? Absolutely. Linebacker and quarterback. Here's a linebacker for you guys. I love the guy, Dylan Moses. I can't hear him. Can you hear him? I couldn't hear him. Come back in. DeMonte Casey had 7 or 8 interceptions 2 years ago. I'm down. No worries, Tony. I've been called a lot worse. I'll take a joke. Some dude on Twitter was trying to call me a beta. I don't know, because I have a YouTube channel and he doesn't. I don't know. You can't hear me? Can you not? You can't hear me. What? Um, can you hear me now? That's weird. So when I was in Discord, you could not hear me at all. Is that true? Hmm. I'm really trying to figure out this call-in thing. Niners want Lance and Pittman. Oh, Pitts? Kyle Pitts, yeah. That would be something. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I am talking and my levels are showing up. I mean, I think he's probably going to go to the 49ers. To be honest with you. Okay. Gotcha. You guys weren't like, you gotta like let me know because I got all sorts of levels and stuff. I couldn't hear him. I don't think he was talking. And if he was, I apologize. Yeah, I couldn't hear the other guy. Are you guys gonna join up or what? Come on, Rams house. How about you? Discord's in the pinned chat. Just join the live stream chat. I want to talk to some people. I got you. I got you. Okay. Well, yeah. Let me know when you guys are interested in that. We'll hook that up. That was odd. No worries. guys hear that beep? For whatever reason, my internet router always beeps here at the office. Who's calling in? Come on. Okay. I was, yes, I did just add that have a question, join our Discord channel, and let's answer it live on the ticker. Ooh, I think I got someone. What's up? How we doing?
Hello.
There we go.
Good. How are you, man?
I'm great. How are you? I love that I
Very
can hear
good.
you. All
Sorry,
right.
my dog's just having a fight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is awesome. See, I got it working, guys. I said it take a little bit. I'm not perfect. Everything that I do is a work in progress. But
Yeah.
so, let me ask you straight up, let me ask you a question. If you could have any quarterback in this draft outside of the top 3, which I mean, I don't agree because I think Lance would probably be 1 or 2 for me, but let's say Lance is available, right? So it's Lance and then everybody else, and it's not including Lawrence, Fields, and Wilson. Who are you going to go with?
Probably Fields.
You like Fields?
I like Fields. Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite thing about Justin Fields' game?
His mobility.
You like his mobility?
Yeah. It's just because Goff just looks like a scarecrow. And adding mobility to something is just, yeah, will open up our game much more.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you there. It's funny, your name is actually up on my screen right now, and it's because you were the last donator, so I wanted to thank you personally for
Yeah, man.
donating
I've been
to me.
listening to you for years, so.
Man, much love. Really appreciate that. Now another thing I'll ask you here. What are your expectations now that the Rams with Sean McVay have had a season 11-5, 13-3, 9-7, 10-6? What are your expectations this upcoming season?
Well, that's hard, man, because I think we're in the best division, and if all the other teams stay healthy, I don't. It's just going to be a dogfight the whole way, and I'm hoping we win it. But like it's always with the QBs that they were versing, like Wilson and Kyler, and if Sam Fran get Deshaun Watson, I mean, it's really hard to see, to be honest.
You're not kidding.
So it's yeah. Oh, it's so hard to say that. If we stay healthy, like San Francisco would have shook it up if they stayed healthy. But again, it's just like you said, it's down to our QB. Like I don't think Goff can work in this division anymore.
So, would you say he can't work in this division anymore because of his mobility, like his lack of mobility, or do you think it's more
No,
about
it's
his?
turnovers.
Oh, it's
It's just
turnovers.
turnovers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because McVay has shown that if you don't turn the ball over, he trusts his defense enough to lock people up. It's just these stupid turnovers that just keep happening. And he promises to fix it. He fixes it the next game, and then he goes away, and the next game it's back to the same old Goff.
No, I hear you there. And it is funny as soon as the pressure starts to be on Jared Goff and you look at the Green Bay game, that was a must. That was I mean, he had to look good in that game or, he was probably gone. And he looked
Yeah.
solid. And it seems like Jared Goff at the end of the day when, his feet get held to the fire, he like ends up playing well. And then he'll go back to, it's like go back to the Tampa Bay game, for instance. I saw a Jared Goff that even though he threw 2 picks, I mean, the passer rating actually shows, I think he had over 90 passer rating. I felt it was very indicative of what he did, and, I thought he was really good in that game. But then when you look at
Yes.
Miami, it's like, well, like, where was that, against Miami,
Yeah, exactly. Like in that Tampa, I only blame one pick on him. That other one I think was tipped and
Mm.
or just a miscatch, I think, from what I remember. But yeah, one was just like, where was that coming from? But
Exactly. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
he throws those ducks, and I think a lot of it is because of his mechanical flaws. He's reverted, and this is actually an interesting thing for you. Is you probably already know this, but he's reverted back to when he gets really pressured, and now that he's not playing up to the form of 2018 at all. He's
no,
reverted back to his old issues mechanically as a quarterback in 2016 that I saw even in college, where he has a wide base. And so what ends up happening is it's harder to drive the football, throw, turn that hip rotation, and just truly step in your throw and drive the football. You know when they say like let it rip, you can't let it rip when you're not driving the football. And so he has those mini steps that he takes, or those mini jump steps,
the
kind of similar.
flutters.
Yeah,
Yeah, the flutter steps. Yeah,
like Peyton Manning, for instance. And,
yeah, yeah,
I think that works for quarterbacks and it does work for him. But when you already have such a wide base, it gets wider when you do those steps. And so I think
yeah,
that's what's, because of that, then he tries to throw off that. And when you try to throw off a platform that's not really much of a platform, it's very uneasy. It's like throwing a football or trying to pitch off a mound that is half in the dirt and half up. So it's like a teeter totter. And if you do that, the ball's going to sail to the ground. And that's why I think a lot of his throws, go into the turf. And then when you look at him trying to overcompensate for that, he ends up overthrowing guys and throwing it over their heads. So I think it's very mechanical, but I also think the mechanical flaws are due to his mental, his status right now. Because I do
yeah.
feel like he's not as confident. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, yeah, like I listen to Chris Sims a lot as well, and
Mm.
he's totally unbiased, and what he I believe in when he says he doesn't throw a pretty ball, and he always seems to put his receivers with that ball not in a good position. Like some of the guys that the best throwers in the game would, well, I'll put it over there so it gets you out of danger, whereas Goff just tries to like throw it in a million miles an hour and break their fingers. Like you can see it sometimes. It's really ugly, like Chris Sim says. Like it's, but then sometimes like I saw some him throw beautiful balls. Like you're like, holy hell, that's just wet. Like it's so he's so inconsistent with his throwing. So that's what's frustrating too. Like you see the highs of 2018. It looks like when he put in the work, and then it comes the last 2 years, it just doesn't look like he cares anymore.
I agree
So
with
yeah,
you. I absolutely agree with you. The thing is, when I look at Jared Goff from 2018 to now, I see a guy that had a lot of confidence, was oozing confidence at one point or another, and now he's not. And so I need to know why that is. What happened? What led to that? And I think that's really the important thing here is they need to figure that out. And if they decide hey, there's too much to figure out here, it's not just confidence and all of that, like we can't fix him, then fine, let him go. Let him go off to be like Indianapolis's reclamation progress. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he
yeah,
had like say it's very interesting actually with the finger, his thumb injury because it kind of reminds me of Kurt Warner, and I don't think he is the player that Kurt Warner was, but it reminds me of Kurt Warner because the Rams gave up on Kurt Warner, and then he went somewhere after the Giants, of course. He went somewhere and went to the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if Jared Goff goes somewhere and does well, but my thing is with Jared Goff is that it's that contract, and the Rams are looking, and it's Sean McVay, and McVay's looking over, and he's seeing, I just lost to a guy that I was coaching, that I pushed to be, get a head coaching job in Matt LaFleur, a guy that's under my tree. And how does it look now that he has an opportunity to win a Super Bowl before me? So I think that's going to help kind of push him into the direction of really, I need to win a Super Bowl. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I also think, some of this is on Sean McVay as well. But I do think, at the end of the day, when John Wolford came in, it's either Sean McVay knew all along, and we heard rave reviews about Wolford in the scrimmages before the season. It's either Sean McVay knew all along that Wolford was better, like he was a better option for the offense due to his mobility and his, quick release and the fact that he's a, faster mental processor, or he didn't know this and that completely woke him up. And now the glass broke. And, it's like, I don't know if you guys saw WandaVision today, episode 3, but it was kind of like, the glass shattering. And if you didn't see it, I'm not spoiling anything. It's just like glass shatter. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. But that's how I kind of felt. You know what I mean? Like it's either one way or the other, where he knew it all along, and then this was an excuse, and now he doesn't have to go back to Goff, or he didn't know it all along, and the glass broke in his head, and it was like, oh, it just clicked, and it's like, oh my god, this guy gives us a better chance to win football games. So that's my
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the whole Wolford dynamic?
Well, honestly, I think it was that pick he threw in that Seahawks game where it was just like to nobody.
Mm.
It was literally to a Seahawks defender. There was nothing there. It said, "Oh, it sailed on him to Robert Woods." I'm like, Robert Woods was 10 yards away. How is that so much sail on you?
Oh yeah.
Like, it's. I think, and then he got a taste of Wolford, and he's like, "I can have this. Oh my god,
Yeah.
this guy can actually throw and run." Like, and we get him on the cheap. Like, I can get more players. Like, because I think when Goff was given the contract, McVay totally believed in him. He was like, oh, because this guy's trending upwards. This guy's doing this. Like, and I think McVay got caught in the Goff hysteria, and he was like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to be great, and if he keeps working this hard and this and this and this, and then he's just regressed. And I think McVay over the last few years has finally gone, holy shit, he's not getting any better.
Yeah, so I the thing is also, I mean, this wasn't McVay's guy. I know a lot of people always say, "Don't say that," because he stuck with Goff and he got paid. McVay didn't pay Jared Goff. I think
No.
that needs to be said. We obviously know Stan Kroenke had to sign off on the trade when it was made before McVay got there, and we also know that Kevin Demoff loves the dude. Like, I think Kevin Demoff loves him more than anybody in the entire organization. And at the end of the day, he is a higher up, but I don't really care if the, you know, president or whatever operation, I forget what role he's in. I think he's like a vice president or something along those lines. I don't really care I think CFO. I don't really care if you love the quarterback. I want to know if my head coach loves the quarterback. We had a similar issue with the Patriots, if you'll recall, with Tom Brady, with Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Bill Belichick wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to be the guy. They drafted in the second round. That was his guy. And Robert Kraft is like, no, but Tom Brady, he's the GOAT and he's done so much for organization and yada, yada, yada. And so when push came to shove, he basically said, screw you, Bill. We're going to end up trading away Jimmy and we're going to stick with Brady. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't like that. And I hope to God, that's not the case where Sean McVay never truly wanted Jared Goff, if that makes sense. And then he got
Yeah.
kind of stuck with him.
I don't think that's the case. I think that, like I said, like that 2018 when Goff did a fantastic job of carrying us to the Super Bowl, I think, and it was showing he was trending upwards in all his all his percentages and that PFF blah blah blah. I think McVay was like, yeah, this guy is trending upwards. Like you can see, you can. That's why I was like, he probably did sign off on the no, this kid's going somewhere, and then something's happened. I th- I got a suspicion like I think they changed QB coaches that year too at the end of that Super Bowl run,
They did.
and yeah, and I don't think this new guy's getting in touch with him or not working with him the same way. It's because ever since that new coach has come in, he hasn't performed to that level, that back 2018 level. So I don't know whether it's well, I think it's definitely a mental thing for Goff, but yeah, I think McVay at that point was seeing, oh no, this guy's going to be good. Let's get him under contract. Yeah, you can sign him.
Yeah, and it's tough when you're in that boat because they're kind of it's like they're stuck with him, and then you realize, well, then he struggles, and then it's like, oh, well, you're not really stuck with him because then you start to look for outliers and opportunities to get out of it. I mean, for people that say that a team wouldn't pay a first rounder for Jared Goff, here's what I would say: a team was gonna pay a first rounder for Sam Bradford coming off an ACL tear, two ACL tears actually.
To it, yeah,
You,
yeah.
you know, and Les Snead basically said, no, we wanted Nick Foles. So that's why, a lot of people don't realize that the Rams got Nick Foles in a second round pick, but they actually could have gotten a first round pick if they didn't ask for Nick Foles, which I
Mm.
don't even ask me why. Nick Foles, the season before that, the Rams somehow watched him because they played the Eagles on the road. They're down 28-7. Austin Davis led them all the way back to potentially win the game. And it was only possible because Nick Foles had two unforced turnovers. And somehow they watched that and they're like, yeah, that's definitely the guy I want under center next year. Like I don't
Well,
understand that at all.
well, I do because that was Jeff Fisher. He has no
Oh
idea about
yeah.
offense.
Oh yeah, I
Like
know.
he was like, he throw ball good, get him. Like the best thing that came out of Jeff Fisher was Aaron Donald. So that's all. That's all I'll say about that.
Let's see what we got in the comments, see if we can answer some. Um okay, being able to extend the play on offense is a whole new game of football. We're limited what Goff can only throw. It hurts, but it's real. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, Jabo. What's up, Exile? I see you just joined. Oh, sorry, random guy. How do you feel about the Rams' new special teams coordinator? So, do you know anything about the new special teams coordinator? I would say he's about going through, his DVOA and just the standings of the special teams coordinator and his special teams units. I'd say he's an average to above average coordinator. Where are you on him?
Personally, never heard of him before. Like there's there I only pay attention to the top five special coaches, like, and I can't believe we still let go of Bones.
Oh, I know.
I,
I
I'm
know.
I'm still like, what happened there? Because I think there was something between him and McVay. Hey, that's the only reason I can say we let him go. Like, oh, like we're paying Hecker all that money, and we don't do any trick plays this year. And that's he's great at trick plays.
No,
Like
I agree. And I don't know how you didn't use one fake all year.
one fake,
Not
one
one.
fake. That would have if one fake all year would have the guys after gone. Okay, we need to prep for the fake. It's just even if they did that in their first game, just to say the rest everyone, oh, we have to prep for it. But
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe they didn't have one fake. Bonamego was so bare bones, it was ridiculous. The irony, bare bones, and they let go of bones. But,
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
you know, I gotta say, defensive coordinator. I really like this hire, and it just continues to, I continue to like it even more. What are your thoughts on Raheem Morrison and what he brings to the table?
From what I remember when he took over in Tampa, it, everyone loved him the first year, and then the next year after that, I think it sort of fell apart because. But as a defensive coordinator, I'm not too sure. Like he did increase the percentages for the Falcons when he took over, but in saying that, why couldn't he increase it while he was just a defensive coordinator? What happened there to change it to so he got something, got the percentages to go better? That's the sort of thing I've got in my head. But Jalen Ramsey tweeted that he was excited, so at least that there's that. Like, okay, he's willing to work with him, so yeah, it's an unknown for me because maybe McVay might bring out a system where he'll go, okay, let's do a four because we've got enough defensive line to go to back to a 4-3. Like I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's one of those you'll see things like
very true.
yeah.
No, I agree with you. I look at this defense and I think ultimately the 4-3-3-4 it doesn't really matter. Most teams in the
No.
league they play nickel or they play, multiple defense where maybe they'll have a 5-2 formation or, a 4-4-3 or, what have you. Um
Mm.
but I do think that his background with the Tampa 2 and his background, in getting his, diving right in and getting his nose dirty with the whole, Dan Quinn cover 3. I think that is something that can be added to this defense. And here's the thing, I don't know if this Rams team can get super invested in learning this system and kind of making this their well-oiled machine because let's be real here. Raheem Morris is going to do well, and if this defense is top 10 again, he'll get a head coaching job and he'll be gone.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
I won't get too attached to his scheme. Um, Now, is there anybody in the draft? Before I let you go, is there anybody in the draft that you really want? Not necessarily quarterback, just anybody that sticks out to you that you want the Rams to grab.
I personally haven't looked, like, I don't tend to look until about round now or after the Super Bowl at the draft, like, because it goes up and down and that. So nothing really sticks out to me. I think it's more about retaining who we've got and getting players with experience in. So, and doing what we like, whatever players we do draft, I've loved the system they've got now where they're behind somebody and it takes them a year, a redshirt year, and then they bring them the next year and they're great. Like Darrell Henderson was great this year. He was the top running back for the first 6 weeks. So, but he had a redshirt last year behind Gurley and Brown. So I think whoever we bring in will be great. But I think with the Rams system, what they do now, they don't usually start their drafters unless they're forced to, like Akers.
No, I hear you there. You know, I think at the end of the day, the Rams are going to be fine in the draft. I know they don't have a first round pick, and I
Yeah,
personally want them to trade up and get Trey Lance, so they might not have a lot of picks. But what this team has done a great job with, and they'll continue to do despite losing Brad Holmes in their, he was obviously the director of college scouting. They'll continue to find guys in undrafted rookie free agency that can not only contribute, that can not only make the roster, but guys that can ultimately start down the road. We've had it
yeah,
with guys like Rodney McLeod. We had it with guys like Corey Littleton. Now Troy Reader. He starts 8 games last year. He probably started around 8 games this year, I would, wager. So I mean, that's the thing, is that they do such a good job of getting these guys. And even in the later rounds, I mean, think about this. Somebody like Sebastian Joseph Day, he was a 7th round pick. He was towards the end of the 7th round. So they make the
yeah.
most out of what they have. Uh their worst pick is still to me the Sam Sloman pick because I don't believe in,
Oh,
taking a kicker. Um but
well,
it
look, they found Matt Gay. Like they found Matt Gay on the street. Like, why do we need a
Oh, I would have signed him as soon
waste
as
of?
Tampa cut him. I would have signed him because he
Yeah,
he was. So here's actually kind of the funny thing. There's context to be added, and then I'll let you go because I know you're probably busy and I want to get some more people on. But
yeah, it's all good.
one thing I'll say is that, and it's really interesting dynamic because Matt Gay, of course, his field goal, his go-ahead field goal, beat Tampa Bay, the team that he was from. Well, do you know? Do you know what Tampa Bay did to him?
No, I don't.
So Matt Gay was the starter going into opening day. The week before, they cut him and got Ryan Suckup.
Ooh,
So this
ooh,
guy literally had no film because he had he had the year prior and he had no preseason exposure. Teams aren't thinking kicker. And so this
mm,
guy kind of sat on, in waiting for a team to go and grab him. And I do believe the Colts got him and placed him on their practice squad, and then the Rams claimed him off their practice squad, if I'm not mistaken. So,
and I heard something where Heckett and oh, McQuaid recommended him too.
yeah,
We actually went to McVay and said, "Hey, get this guy."
yeah, I've been a fan of his. I actually had him on my dynasty fantasy team last year. So I was pretty hyped because I knew, he had a 58 yards, a guy that can hit, in between 45 to 52 very, very accurately. So yeah, Matt Gay is going to be a weapon for them. He doesn't have to be super special. He doesn't have to hit, 65 yarders or anything like that, but if you're consistent within 45 to 52, it gives your team a chance, especially a team that, would continue to stall out there. But hey, man, thank you so much for, joining me on here. We'll have to talk again soon. Tell
Definitely, man.
tell the listeners, and of course you'll be a listener soon, but Tell the viewers right now where they can follow you if you're on Twitter.
I'm not on Twitter, dude. I don't do Twitter. I'm just on Instagram and Facebook, man.
All right, we'll plug it in.
Uh, uh, as a 50 Jaffa. That's my name on Instagram. I just do funny stories every now and again, but I'm a Rams fan since 2008. That's when I really got into it because I'm from Australia. So,
Hey, I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. So that's it. Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for having a chat, Jake. Anyway,
absolutely. Anytime, my man. You take care of yourself.
no
Stay
worries,
healthy.
Same to you, buddy. Bye.
Later. All right. So that was fun. AZAA50 Jaffa. He is on Instagram. And guys, he was just in our little chat here. So, um, you guys can call in and not really call in. You just join the Discord and we'll get you guys in and we'll talk some ball. But yeah, Also, the race to 2,000 subscribers. I have to mention it. I'm at 1,900 something. I'd love to get to 2,000 by the end of the month. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And if you're interested in my videos, be sure to hit that bell icon. It's going to tell you every time yours truly goes online. Let's see here. Let's talk a little bit. All right, we got offensive line or linebackers. Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels. Why does that name sound familiar? I know Jaden Daniels. Appreciate it. I try to interact with everyone. I feel like I could be a lot better, but it's all part of, getting better at this. I mean, you guys know it's been a process. I didn't have the helmet. Now I have the helmet. I didn't have, this stand thing. Now I have this stand thing. I didn't have this setup, I mean, think about it. I didn't have Streamlabs. I was just doing I just cranked up my gain last night and had, people playing through my speakers on my, laptop, and now we got it going. So, it's a work in progress, folks. And, if you keep following along, you'll see. I mean, I just keep learning. It's a process, but it kind of goes to show you though, just because you don't know something doesn't mean you can't try at it. And just because you fail, like you saw, I totally failed to start off this stream. For those of you that were in earlier, um, doesn't mean that you can't get right back up and finish your task. So that's what I've been focusing on and trying to stay, have a positive mindset and everything. But um, thanks, Austin. Appreciate you. I mean, I love you guys. I love talking ball. How about we throw some Trey Lance highlights on, right? Just like 3. Cuz I feel like it and not everybody might have saw them. I don't know. Man, I love him. I love me some Trey Lance. That throw. Come on, tell me you don't want him. Tell me you don't want him under center in LA. Come on now. I know, Rams house. I know. I should have started. So I had a bunch of people close to me, and I said a bunch, but I have a small circle, so that doesn't work out. But I had people close to me telling me for a while, like, you got the sports thing down, the sports commentary or sportscast or whatever you're doing. Why don't you do YouTube? And for the longest time, I every now and then I do YouTube, but it wouldn't go anywhere, and I wasn't good at it. And then I learned, and I think my cousin, who I'm going to co-host the AJ show with tomorrow, you can find it 12 p.m. Eastern time to 2 p.m. Eastern time live. He kind of got me into it. I've been podcasting. For people that follow me, I mean, the Downtown Rams podcast, I've been podcasting since 2016. I mean, before I even had a podcast, I interviewed George Kittle. I mean, I interviewed David Jones out of Richmond. He ended up winning a Super Bowl with the New England Patriots. So I interviewed guys, and then it turned into a podcast. We had JB Long on, we had Dick Vermeil, we had Isaac Bruce, Kurt Warner, all sorts of guys. I mean, Roman Gabriel. Um, but at the end of the day, though, like I always had podcasts. I was always audio, and then I would do live streams on Facebook. For those of you that are here from Facebook, and you're new and you're wondering where I went, Facebook wasn't promoting my videos at all. They weren't promoting my live streams. I had to pay. YouTube will at least recommend me to others, and that's what I dig about this. I really dig it because people are finding this stream. This is our lowest stream, but it's also a Friday night, and I'm not necessarily expecting everybody to be sitting here with me. And it's only the special majority of you that are here on a Friday night supporting me, so I appreciate it. But yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at on that. So things are going well, but I don't have a sports jersey on. I know I said that was going to be a daily thing, but I decided to rock the Foo Fighters hoodie, their brand new album. I mean, it didn't come out yet, so don't go and rush to listen to it. And if you don't listen to the Foo Fighters, you should check them out. They're pretty awesome. But Lance going to be gone because the Lions and Panthers are interested, but the Rams do get Trey Lance. It would be the biggest steal of the draft. I agree. You give Trey Lance to the Rams, ooh, that's going to be tough. I hear you, Rams House. I've been seeing your stuff. You keep it up. I watch some of your videos. I mean, I have a hard time following everyone's videos, and I watch a lot of Emergency Awesome, and I watch a lot of new rock stars because when I'm on YouTube, normally I'm not like I watch some sports, but a lot of the time I'm always trying to get the details on Star Wars stuff and like Marvel. And I mean like the whole thing with like what is it? Vision or WandaVision. I'm so interested in that. I don't know if anybody's checked that out on Disney Plus, but that is incredibly eerie, trippy, wacky. I mean, it went from like a Dick Van Dyke Show type of vibe, Twilight Zone vibe, to like the Brady Bunch overnight. It's pretty interesting. Jake, on Twitter, you said you interviewed Minshew and asked him about Super Bowl 53, and he said something directed to the Rams. What was it he said? Yeah, so Minshew, this is actually funny. He told me to cut this out, but he was saying that he hoped he was rooting for the Rams against the Patriots. He told me to edit it out because he actually had a meeting with the Patriots that day, but yeah, that's what he said. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say it because he might end up with the Patriots, but you know, Ramsey's not getting traded. No way. Oh yeah, yeah. Ashton, what's up, my man? I think I mean I assume it's you, unless there's another Ram fan, Ashton, that we were talking earlier today on Twitter. It's a good dude right there. Leonard Floyd should consider not charging much. Our linebackers sign with us and have good seasons and leave right after and decline a lot. Um, Leonard Floyd is gone. I don't see how they bring him back. You should do a podcast that talks about all teams in general, like Zach. Absolutely nobody. That's actually what the AJ show is. It's a live sports show where we talk about the whole league. And to be honest with you folks, I plan on talking about the whole league. It's just I want to, I want to do what my fans want. I want to do what my supporters and my viewers what they want to. Here's the thing about this live stream: the black and white, or the black, white, and yellow. I can't even point. The black, white, and yellow HUD the backing, that screams more Steelers. Now my cousin does the Steelers stuff. I do, NFL stuff. I've been mainly doing Rams because there's so many amazing Rams fans that continue to come into this stream and ask Ram questions. But let's just be honest here. If anybody asks me any question that's relevant, no, not even relevant. You can ask me about sports. You can ask me about TV shows, movies, what have you. I don't care. I want to get to know all y'all, and I'm sure you probably want to get to know a little bit about me. So I'm always open. Ask me anything. Um, but what I will say is that as long as it's appropriate, of course. But I will say if anybody asks me like NFL stuff, you'll notice I'll answer those questions too. This isn't just a Rams page. I just want to be very, very clear about that. I am a Rams fan, and I have a bunch of Rams fans in the community that I have here. Um, but I definitely like if there's somebody else that shows up and they're a Vikings fan like the other day, and they were asking me what I thought about their team, I'm gonna answer that. And my videos aren't going to be just Rams either. I just want to let you guys know because I do obviously love the Rams. But if I ever make content that's not just the Rams, keep in mind it's the Jake Ellenbogen channel for a reason. It's not Downtown Rams or Rams Edge or anything like that. So just keep that in mind in case I do that, because I understand totally if you just want to see Rams content, I get it. But I gotta try to, of course, build a wider audience here. And like the other night when we had Packers fans in here and Chargers fans. I mean, anyone is welcome to be in this stream. Anyone. Yeah, I want Minshew and horns as well. I love Minshew. I wonder if I could get her on right now. Want me to see if I can get her on? Man, it's pretty late. Yeah, it's pretty late. I'm not gonna bother. But we'll do it another time. I'll be doing the live stream tomorrow. So, we'll do the live stream tomorrow. Guys, everyone tune into the AJ show. I really want all of you all there if you can. If you can make it, tune in, show some love. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the AJ show. How about them Clippers? Did they win? Let me see. I'd rather have Lance, but I love Minshew. Oh no. Arizona is putting a beating down on the Golden Knights. I can't even see. What are the Clippers doing? The Cavaliers beat the Nets again? Gotta love it. Gotta love it. We are underrated, but we're coming on strong around the world. Minshew might be better than Goff. He might be. Oh, Kareem, I'm so sorry. Yes, at least I can keep up with the comments. Kareem, let's see here. Leonard Floyd is going to be overpaid. I hope we give Okoronkwo and Lewis opportunities. Yeah, and don't forget Justin Hollins as well. Justin Herbert is going to be better than Goff. I'd put money on that. Kareem, thoughts on the new Star Wars shows announced? Okay, I cannot wait to talk about this. So, I love The Mandalorian. I'm annoyed that it's being pushed back to 2022 in favor of the Book of Boba Fett, although I'm hearing that Mando's going to be in that, so we'll see. So I love that idea. Rangers of the Republic is going to be interesting because that has Cara Dune in it. Ahsoka is what I can't wait for. I just think that Rosario Dawson is phenomenal, and that episode was one of the absolute best. What else did they announce? Visions, I don't care about. A droid story could be interesting. If it's just a kids show, I'm not gonna care. But if a droid story shows R2D2, keep this in mind. I know I'm probably boring some of you, but keep this in mind. If it shows R2D2, you're gonna see so much because R2D2 never in its entirety of the entire series ever had its memory wiped. So it saw everything, and it's probably some brutal stuff that R2D2's seen because I mean R2D2 is there during the whole slaughter of the Jedi, Order 66. So yeah, and then the Bad Batch is an interesting concept as well. I kind of like that they're doing that. And then what other shows did they have? There's it's Cassian Andor. Um, that's gonna be cool. I loved Rogue One. So good. That movie is amazing. And the thing that's so amazing is those characters are so dope. And yet they're all going to die in the end because at the end of the day, they can't matter. It goes right into episode 4, which is A New Hope. It's done so well. Yeah, Boba Fett's going to be cool. I'm just not as interested. I like Boba Fett the character now, but I wasn't as interested as in Boba Fett. I mean, he was only in like I think people just loved the way he looked, like his mask, because he was literally only in Star Wars for 6 minutes in the original trilogy. Keep that in mind. Like Jango Fett had more screen time in the prequels. The High Republic stuff is cool. Yeah, well, here's the funny thing about that with the Skywalker saga is that really at the end of the day it was a Palpatine saga. I mean, it was pretty much all about the Palpatine saga. I mean, it was pretty much all about Palpatine. That's the thing I always found interesting. Oh, the Obi-Wan show is going to be amazing. I'm a big Hayden Christensen fan. Anakin was my favorite in the prequels, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, Herbert is already better than Goff. See what I mean? I can go right from Star Wars right to Justin Herbert versus Jared Goff. See, we can do this, folks. Ask me anything. We should just call it Ask Me Anything Fridays and just literally talk about whatever. Chargers going to charge her up. They're a cursed and cheap franchise. We'll see. Okay, so Palpatine, I get that. Palpatine technically, I mean, he wasn't alive, like his mind or I forget exactly what it was, but his body died, but he like basically uploaded his consciousness to for lack of a better term, uh to I don't know, like his conscience was alive. His body was destroyed. I think they should have made Emperor Snoke Plagueis as well and not a failed clone of Palpatine, but that's just me. Yeah. I mean, I think so. Here's an interesting thing for you guys. I'm going to connect Star Wars to the NFL. All right, you ready? Hopefully this works. Okay. So, when people say on Facebook or Twitter or what have you, like to me or to anybody, like you're just an armchair GM. What makes you think you know more than the coaches? Here's what I will say to that is that when you're looking at, say, watching the film, how is Sean McVay going to cover 500 players the way I could cover 500 players? Sean McVay has to be a head coach. Sean McVay has to, he has scouts that do that. Sean McVay may not watch more film than, say, I do. And the reason I say that is because he has to watch NFL film and he has to develop his board for free agency. So he has to reevaluate the entire season. He has to watch film on the team itself, and then he has to watch film around the league for players that they could look to acquire. So at the end of the day, he doesn't have a ton of time to watch college film. So what I'm saying is that like when people say you're just an armchair GM or whatever, you don't know as much as Sean McVay, there's maybe a chance that I watch more film than Sean McVay. I'm not saying I watch it better than him or that I'm better than him, but there's a reason I'm saying this, okay? The second thing with Star Wars, okay? They wrote the story, but that doesn't mean that you can't make it better. That doesn't mean that your idea isn't better than what they came up with. And what how did I connect these two? Well, here's the thing. When you're really close to the action, you miss things. You miss the attention to detail. You see everything here, you don't see it from a bird's eye view like we do. So because of that, I think you could make the argument that there are players that are, missed in the NFL in all sports. They're just flat out missed because it's like the coaches and the GMs are so close to the action that they don't see it from our perspective. So they look at other things that may not be as important at the end of the day to evaluating a player. And how do I compare it to Star Wars? Well, when you're writing a story, on the surface, you think it's great. And then you have everybody in. And again, inside, when you're really close to the action, this is great. But outside, the Star Wars community is huge. It's one of the most unforgiving communities because people will literally cut you off if you disagree with, it's a good community, don't get me wrong, but Star Wars fans will kill you if, over certain things. So my point is that there are people that spend all day, and I'm not saying, I'm not trashing them, keep this in mind. They spend all day on their YouTube channel coming up with theories for Star Wars. They're thinking about it more than the writers. So when you're that close to the action, when you're that close to the action, you miss the nuances, the little details that say the fans who are hovering over it constantly can see. So exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying, Ashton, is that you can get attached to players because we don't have that connection, you and I. We're watching from our living room or the sports bar or on our phones or computer, what have you. They're seeing them every day. So you can get that attachment. And I think plenty of times you saw that with multiple coaches. And then with directors, they get attached to their storylines. Exactly. And that's what it comes down to. So I think that's how I would put that. I don't know what you guys think about that analogy, but it does look like Ashton realized what I was saying. Can you check in YouTube Studio how many subs exactly you have? I want to know how close you are to 2K subs. Oh, absolutely. Yo, AJ, get in Discord now and let's talk, brother. Let's talk. Let's get you on here. AJ's a madman, folks. This dude watches way more film than I do. He follows it all year. He writes for Pro Football Network, and he's like the nicest human being. It's William Schulte. But, I call him AJ. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm looking at the studio now. Rams house. All right, so we have 1,911. So, yeah. That's where we're at right now. I need 89 to get to 2,000. I'm waiting. Yo,
Yo,
how we doing, Ashton?
doing good.
All right, folks. Ashton is on. He's called in, air quotes needed because we're just using Discord. No one's actually calling. Uh Ashton, what's up? How we doing?
Doing good. It's a Friday night. My wife is out with friends, and my brother-in-law is out too. So Kind of chilling. Saw you were live, and I love talking football. Love talking other stuff too. I know we were getting into a little bit of Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely were. Yeah, I mean, you start off, man. You have any questions for me or anything you want to discuss?
Yeah, I guess if we can start, of course my name's Rams fan, and you know me, so I'll start off with a simple Rams question. Do
Yeah.
you think our defensive coordinator hire is a safe one? Because this is kind of a hire I expected last year, not this year. I thought we would try to go for a more unknown like Staley was last year. Do you think it's safe, or do you think they're taking a risk on a guy that's had some, let's say, lackluster production last few years?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good question, man. I saw somewhere there was a graphic when they fired Dan Quinn. This defense from the time they fired Dan Quinn to the time that Raheem Morris took over, like they were night and day. And they actually hadn't won a game with Dan Quinn, and then they went 4-7 with Raheem Morris. I don't necessarily think it's just um I don't think it's like a friendly hire because I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're buddy buddy. It's that. I think obviously Sean McVay wants to get him back out and being a head coach again. I think at the end of the day, Sean McVay wants to help out his friends, wants to help these guys out, these young coaches, and put them in position to move up. Which is why I don't think he really blocks many guys. And I do want to add to that. I do think because he blocked the O'Connell thing. I think O'Connell could eventually be taking plays over the play calling down the road, and that's why he blocked him. But what I'll say to that is I understand the concern of maybe like playing it safe, but I think this guy really is legit. I like the fact that he has that experience in 2019 on the offensive side of the ball. You look at his wide receivers coach, and then of course he was the passing game coordinator. So I do like the fact that, like Staley, who was a quarterback, he has the offensive experience as a defensive coordinator. He also has a ton of experience with the Tampa 2, and then of course the cover 3 defense that Dan Quinn used with Legion of Boom. So I do like that he has all those wrinkles to his overall game, so to speak. One thing I'll say is that with Tampa, he wasn't as bad as many think. He started off 3-13, and then dealt with a ton of injuries in his third year, and they went, I believe, 4-12. But he actually has the greatest turnaround in their history, going from 3 wins to 10 wins. In his second season, they went 10-6 and missed the playoffs. Had they made the playoffs, things might have been a little bit different as far as what people viewed as a successful season. And I think just overall, going 10-6, people got the hype up for Tampa Bay, and then when he didn't meet that, and they went 4-12 with all those injuries, you kind of saw him let go. But I think this is somebody that has a really good resume, a good track record, and I like that he has the familiarity. Obviously, Joe Barry's gone, but Aviro Ajiro and Austin, or not Austin, Aubrey Pleasant, in that coaching staff that he's already coached with.
Yeah, I was actually really expecting them go in-house this time. I was a little surprised because I thought, I don't know, just to me, it came like they were waiting for someone in-house to take that next big step, and apparently this guy showed up. I'm thinking he did a great interview, and they were really, and of course, McVay has some, like you said, some experience with them, so I guess he really impressed them, and it'll be interesting to see how much the defense regresses. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think we'll regress some. I think that's just natural. It's rare a defense stays number one for multiple years in a row.
Yeah.
The question is just how far and like what regresses, because of course the running game defense, at least over in Atlanta, wasn't bad, but they're terrible, terrible passing defense. So, we have the best secondary in at least one of the top five secondaries in the league. So it'll be interesting to see how he uses them. And he has the players now. He has no excuses like in Atlanta.
Yeah, and like I'm glad you said that because in Atlanta, I mean, you're dealing with a lot of inexperience, right? You have a guy like Kendall Sheffield who's been in the league for 2 years. You have a guy like, AJ Terrell that not only was a rookie, but he battled COVID early on in the season, so he wasn't entirely acclimated. And then you see towards the end of the year, he played well down the stretch. Then you look at Bleedy Ray Wilson, a guy that's just kind of a guy. He's a jag. He's your fifth corner type of deal, and he was kind of forced to play more than they wanted him to. Darquez Denard was like their number one, corner, and they let Desmond Trufant go. So I mean, they really were lacking there. They lost Demonte Casey for the season. And then the back end of the secondary. I mean, as much as I like Keanu Neal, I kind of feel like Ricardo Allen is more of like a plug and play veteran presence, like Eric Weddle was with the Rams. I don't think he truly moves the needle. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. But like you said, with the Rams, that's not really an excuse. They're, in all likelihood, all signs point to them getting back Darius Williams. If not, then that means a team probably gave him a first round pick, and the Rams just said, "All right, we'll keep the first round pick. You can sign Darius Williams." Um, so Darius Williams, they have obviously Jalen Ramsey, Terrell Burgess, Taylor Rapp, Jordan Fuller. And then, you look and I mean, David Long, it's either he's going to take the next step or they're already done with him and they're ready to, move on and draft a guy or sign a guy. But I think Casey, who has been brought up repeatedly in this stream, Casey is definitely somebody to watch out for, somebody that I think could potentially follow Raheem Morris over. And I do want to bring that up because what is really interesting is that if Raheem Morris, depending on how much of a influence he was, like if he brings over Casey, then you've replaced Troy Hill essentially. And there are other guys as well. A Charles Harris that maybe didn't he hasn't lived up to the potential. Maybe playing with Aaron Donald would really help him. Um, I think that those, there's guys that you need to just keep in mind that, if he follows, if they follow, not Staley, if they follow Raheem Morris to the Rams, maybe they have, their best season yet, kind of like how Floyd did with Staley.
Yeah, following him over, and that's definitely an impact. Like some players want to play with certain coaches, and they follow him over. We saw that with Bones and losing Greg the Leg. It's a fact of life that these players create relationships, and sometimes it's stronger than a bigger paycheck somewhere. And plus, LA isn't a terrible town to live in.
No, no, it's not. And I think that's another thing that's really helped them in free agency. I mean, somebody like Aqib Talib gets to play in LA and Marcus Peters, I mean, obviously they had to trade for him, but it all again, it all makes sense. The Rams have a really good plan set. And I think a lot of players, we were told this early on that a lot of players were intrigued about playing for Sean McVay if it works out. Well, it's worked out. And I think, more and more you're going to see these players, they want a younger coach. And I think you're going to see them kind of shy away from signing with, traditional rosters that want to ground and pound and, run an 80 style offense and things on that nature. So no, I tend to agree with you there. I think that definitely helps out. So now I'm gonna answer some of these. I'm gonna at least address some of these comments because there's not a ton, and then I'm gonna get into Star Wars with you. So because I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts on Star Wars. So let's see here. You should do a breakdown of Zach Wilson. I will be doing a breakdown of Zach Wilson. Remember, this is a everything all NFL show or NFL, channel, sports channel in general. So I'm going to be doing Zach Wilson. I'll do Trevor Lawrence. I'll do Justin Fields. I'll do all of them. I'm trying to do literally every player. If I scout 350, I want to do all 350. So let's see. Hopefully, some of your free agents come to the Chargers. Trey, you were absolutely right. Jalen Hurts, Jamie Newman. All right, so I'll say this right now. before we go into the Star Wars thing, I have to address this because a lot of people asked me what my thoughts were on Jamie Newman, and I hadn't watched his film yet. Jamie Newman does not impress me. Um, I have some serious concerns about how casual he looks when he throws. He does not throw off a great platform. Does not really step into his throw. He has the most cringiest mesh point I've ever seen in my entire life. If you don't believe me, go and watch his film when he's doing a read option. It's painful. I mean, AJ knows what I'm talking about. Who is maybe still in the chat? I don't know. I would not draft Newman unless it's like late in the draft. He's a day 3 prospect to me. I've been seeing, people have been asking me, would he go in the second or third? Maybe because of how just the sheer lack of talent in this draft. But if you want to look for a sleeper, I'm going to be doing a breakdown on him. Zach Thomas of Appalachian State. Put that name in your book right now, in your head, and go and watch his film and wait until I come out with the film breakdown of him because I like him. I'm not saying he's super talented or super special, but I like him in a weaker quarterback class. It's more top heavy. That's a guy you need to watch out for. And, Kenny Pickett was another guy that I really liked out of Pitt, but he decided to stay pretty recently. So, yeah, I would say right now Zach Thomas out of Appalachian State is somebody that I like. But all right, Ashton, it's time.
Oh, I will say, Jake, I want to give you a quick question, just a
Oh yeah,
quick
absolutely.
one. Is so if let's say the Rams shock most people and draft a QB on the second or third round, and they really like him, and they're going to trade away Goff. Who's the number one team that would trade for Goff in your eyes? I have one that comes to mind that I think he would be a good fit at, just like his style.
So I think Jared Goff would absolutely thrive with the Colts. That's what I would
Yeah,
say.
I was going to say Patriots.
Well,
Um,
I think he'd thrive there as well.
Yeah, I feel like he fits Patriot style. The Colts would be interesting one, especially with their new line being good. But just wanted to shoot that quick one out there because it's always interesting. To think who I think there is a market, like you said, for Goff. It'll just be who is the higher bidder, and I feel like the Patriots right now have a little bit more, not cap space, but picks to work with than the Colts.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And I think that that's a good point that you make. I mean, the Colts actually have a ton of cap space. They have about 67 million, I want to say. So, at the end of the day, I think that they definitely have the cap space to make it work. And, Jared Goff, let's be honest here, he's not a superstar by any stretch, but Goff has shown you in the past he was, getting to that level and, before it, came to an abrupt halt. So, what I would say is that you get a guy for 2 years to immediately replace, Philip Rivers, a guy that has a track record of making the playoffs, a guy that has a track record of playing well. And obviously, he struggled a little bit, but his biggest issue has been the offensive line. When he doesn't have enough time, he panics, and not having a running game. And he would have that with Indy. I mean, you can't say he wouldn't because Jonathan Taylor ran for 1,100 yards, and you'd still have Naeem Hines. You'd have the offensive line that they have there, which is highlighted by Quentin Nelson. So, I mean, I think the Colts are a great fit. Patriots are a good fit. Another solid, interesting fit. What if the Rams got Kirk Cousins? I'm not a huge fan of Kirk Cousins, but what if they did like a direct swap with him and Goff?
I almost feel like he's like a diet Jared Goff. Like I like him less than Goff.
I like Diet Jared
He's
Goff.
the same. He's the same type of player almost, exact same, and he started regressing before Goff did. Um, that's just my personal opinion. I feel like Goff has a better deep ball. He hasn't shown it in the last 2 years, but when has Kirk Cousins shown it? Like that whole offense has ran off of a five-star running back in the last 2 years, and you take that running back out of that game, and then it's mediocre, and maybe they have a really good rookie wide receiver. But if they didn't have either of those guys, like Kirk Cousins wouldn't be doing anything.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I would do it. I'm just I'm trying to think of fits. I mean, I think Minnesota's going to look for another quarterback. The Broncos are going to look for another quarterback. Henry Ford just put that in the chat, and so I don't deserve credit for that. Although I've had them in mind. Drew Lock for Jared Goff. So like the Rams get Drew Lock and picks, and then the Broncos get Jared Goff. I could see that. Um, the Darnold one I can't see because I'll tell you right now, people disagree with me. The Jets aren't trading Aaron. Sorry, the Jets aren't trading. They're definitely not trading Aaron Darnold. They're not trading Sam Darnold. And the reason I say that is because I think truly if they were going to do that, they would have brought in a offensive minded coach who wanted to get his own guy. And I think Sala is going to stick to him. And I think he's going to try to develop him. And obviously it's coach speak and, gamesmanship in a sense. And, he had really good praise and, a lot of nice things to say, but I wouldn't move on from Darnold. You have a lot of, money invested in him. You have a pick that was allocated for him, a first round pick. And I think you just continue to get him weapons and help and build that defense. And I think they can be like the 49ers were last year.
Yeah, I'll say one thing to your Colts point. I think it's a really good point, especially because unlike the other teams we're talking about, they're playoff ready.
Yeah.
Like that defense is really good. The offense is pretty good. They just need a QB, and you take a risk getting a rookie and having to develop them, and you're wasting years on this talented roster. So, like you look at a QB like Jared Goff, he could be someone where you could draft someone in the second or third round, take a shot on that person, but you sign Goff to start, and if Goff struggles, you just put in that starter, and you're developing him anyways, and you just see what you have in Goff still in a different setting.
Yeah.
That's a unique, intriguing take. So I definitely see the Colts being a good choice for him.
Yeah, plus you have a GM that's willing to spend money. I mean, Chris Ballard is willing to go out there and actually get a deal done. And I think that's important. I mean, just look at what he did for Andrew Luck. Here's an interesting one. I shouldn't get credit for it because Michael E. King, who was in here yesterday, he gave me the idea of it. But what if the Rams trade Jared Goff? They get a pick. So say they get a second and third, or a first round pick, and they get Andrew Luck's um reserved rights. So he goes on the reserve retired list. That way, if he ever decides to come back, the Rams get Andrew Luck. See, I think that would be interesting.
Ooh.
I don't know if he'll ever come back, but can you 100% tell me without a shadow of a doubt that, Andrew Luck comes back and he wouldn't be in at least the top 20 of the league?
I mean, I definitely wouldn't say he wouldn't be. I think he would be really good. Like,
Yeah.
man, if he was on the Colts, I think they would have won a Super Bowl last year or this year. I really do believe that. Because that Colts team, even without him, was really, really good. But it's a risk. It's a risk. Like, I'd rather have the first round pick than having a second and third with Andrew Luck, probably maybe never coming back. Like, yeah, you get his rights, but you have a definite first round pick versus second and third round. How confident are you in hitting those second and third rounders? You know?
No, I agree with you there. I would personally opt for the first round pick. Because I think right now I have my eyes set on Trey Lance, and I think the Rams should do it. I think he'd be a perfect fit for their offense. This is somebody that doesn't have to start right away. He could. I definitely wouldn't put it past him, But here's the thing: he's a redshirt sophomore. He didn't even get to play his this past season. He had one game that was a showcase game because of COVID, canceled their entire FCS season, and straight up, I think a similar quarterback that plays kind of the same style is John Wolford. And at the end of the day, the Rams could go back to what they did in 2016, where, John Wolford's running as the, Case Keenum, so to speak. He starts, and then when Trey Lance is ready, he's the Jared Goff. And what does this do? Well, it resets. So you get out of the Goff deal now, and you can reset back to having a rookie deal, not spending, quarterback money on three different players instead of just allocating them to two. and then just roll with your rookie contract until, after the 5th year option. And then you decide, you evaluate, is Trey Lance worth, is he Patrick Mahomes level? Should we, bring him back? Or if he doesn't, live up to the expectations or anything, then you move on, maybe draft another, you get a veteran. Like, I think that's the way that they should go, because at the end of the day, I do think that Sean McVay has a system there that kind of showed you, I like John Wolford a lot, but it speaks volumes that John Wolford was able to come in and run the offense just as well as Goff in his first ever game. So I think that,
Y-
I'm not saying that this is like anybody can play in this offense. And I'm not saying this to be offensive to Jared Goff or John Wolford, but it certainly begs the question, is that what they should do?
I mean, I'm on that train where I was defending Goff up until like mid this season, and I got to a point where, there's no more excuses. I don't think people should be fired after 1 year of bad play. People have down seasons, you know?
Mhm.
You have to be understanding these are people, they have lives, things are going on. But when it becomes a trend, that's when you need to start making decisions for the franchise. And at least in my eyes, we have to start preparing for the fact that Goff's not going to turn around. At least not here. Sometimes people need changes of scenery. They it's just the system isn't working out for them. They're not a fit. So at least for now, I think we should try to draft a QB if we can, if they're good and Sean McVay likes them. Like I was a big Desmond Ritter. Like all the tape I watched of him, I think
Same.
that guy's gonna be a top 10 QB in the league. I really do. I have a good feeling about him.
Oh, I do too. I'm right there with you. I know Sosa Cremenius also on Twitter, is a big fan of his game. So I mean, I'm right there with you there. I believe or not Trey Lance. We're talking about Trey Lance and Ritter. We're talking about all these guys I love. But anyway, Ritter next year I think is going to be the number one quarterback. I really do, which probably could end up being
It's
the
gonna
number one
kill
pick.
me. It's gonna kill me because if he would declare this year, I think we would have got him, or at
Oh,
least had a chance.
absolutely. I think if he declares this year, then the Rams probably get him in the second round, and they don't even have to trade anything. And then you're looking at all those picks. Didn't have to give up your first round next year. Yeah, it's a bummer, But I think if you're, and the reason I've mentioned Trey Lance, and I think a lot of people are starting to rally around, my idea of going after Trey Lance, is the fact is that I woke up from this idea that we couldn't trade up in the draft, and the reason I did is because when I heard that, there was actually, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there actually was smoke in regards to, Deshaun Watson and the fact that they were willing to trade picks. I was like, well, why don't they consider going out and getting Lance? He'd be cheaper and he'd be a mobile quarterback that you could develop in your offense. And you give John Wolford more time. Quarterbacks are currency in the league. If John Wolford plays well enough, you can trade him away and you can move on to Lance. I just don't see there's really much of a loss in this issue. And here's the thing with John Wolford, I've said this, and I don't really care, who disagrees with me or not. Uh, John Wolford can win you 10, 11 games next year. I say that because they're going to a 17 game season, but still, like this idea that like he'd be such a drop off from Jared Goff, I mean, it's just not true. I can't subscribe to that notion at all. And I think personally, in the Seattle game before he got hurt, he was about to have a 300-yard outburst. I think he was about to throw for like 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, and like run for like 60.
Yeah, he was moving the ball so nicely both games. And once he got the jitters out halfway through Arizona, I was like, okay, okay, I can see this guy being a real NFL starter. Now we don't know how good of an NFL starter, but a NFL starter. And
Yeah.
then, it's just bad luck. I can't imagine him. He gets that that high school quarterback dream of getting your NFL start. The starter goes down, you get a NFL start in the playoffs, and you get to win it for your team. And if you can, you put your name in the history books. And he gets taken out with a dirty hit. Ah, I was so angry after that play.
Oh, it really pissed me off, man. I've been a big Jamal Adams supporter and fan, but ever since he went to Seattle, I don't really like him as much anymore. I feel like there's just it was so different when he got to the Jets. the way he bought into the idea, like he was the culture changer. He was going to change, the defense, and I loved that. And then it just he became just kind of like everybody else when you're in the league. You get really cocky and you want money, and then he was gone. And it was like, I'm not saying the Jets are a world class organization, but first off, I don't think he left all that well. I thought, it was pretty classless the way he left. And on top of it, since he's been with Seattle, I think he's been classless. The whole Cabo thing and the cigar. I mean, look, I get it. It's taunting, it's trash talking, it's part of the game, what have you, but I don't know, maybe I'm just old school. I just thought it was just showing up a team, and then it basically the Rams beating them at their house just kind of goes to show you guys, if anybody doesn't believe in karma, there you go.
Yeah, he's basically Marcus Peters, but better at rushing. He just blows coverages a lot, and he's a good safety. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of respect for him. It's just that hit itself. It was unnecessary. At least if he didn't mean to do it on purpose, the league should try to stop that from happening. Because if that was Wilson, they would have thrown a flag. I have no doubt if that was
Oh yeah.
Mahomes, a flag would have been instantly thrown.
It's
But it
even
was a
it's
backup
even worse, they
QB.
already threw it and then they took it away. So you saw how bad it was and then you took it away. Like I don't even know. That was awful.
Yeah, if you're at least not going to give them the technical definition of being able to get objective for it, since it wasn't helmet to helmet technically, at least give them a fine or something. Like it's just a bare minimum. But the NFL is imperfect with its refing.
Yeah. No, I hear you there. Um All right, so we covered a
Star
lot.
Wars.
Now it's time for Star Wars, and I know I might lose some people that are in the stream right now, but I really am interested to talk with you about it. So, what is your thoughts on the direction they're leaning? Because right now, I feel like with you look at everything going on with Mandalorian, and you look at everything going on with all those shows, like Ahsoka coming up and Rangers of the Republic. It seems as though, and I could be wrong, but we have Disney. We have Kevin Feige, who's also part of this Star Wars community. Um, are we leaning towards an Infinity War in the Star Wars universe? Because that's kind of where I'm seeing this going.
Well, the rumor is, I don't know if he's been officially hired, but that the head of Lucasfilms might become not like the CEO, but the actual head, the production head, might become Kevin Feige, and
Ooh.
everyone should know that name. He's interested. There's rumors, and I feel like the Star Wars. See, my problem with Kathleen Kennedy, and for anyone listening who doesn't know who that is, that's the head of Lucasfilms, the CEO, I believe. Um, she gave directors way too much leeway during the last trilogy, and that's part of the reason why each trilogy had its own flavor, or you can kind of say its own story, and it was very disjointed and had different tones to it. Don't get me started on the last trilogy, but that whole thing was a mess. But if they hire Kevin Feige, I think you're starting to see that type of direction because they know it works. It's a proven recipe for making great movies and great stories. You can give your directors a little bit of leeway, yes, and Marvel does a great job of that. They let people create their own stories within a framework, but they still have high quality. Star Wars has always been high quality, but they also have good throughout storyline that connects all together and makes one big broader paintbrush picture.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way of explaining how that works. And, you know, I'm actually really interested to see that happen. If Kevin Feige is going to be the guy, the bigwig at, Lucasfilm, that could really change everything. I wonder if we're going to get, a lot of retconning moving forward. I'm not really a huge fan of that. I actually like the trilogy. I'm in the minority there. I really loved the Rise of Skywalker. I At first, I hated The Last Jedi. It was one of my least favorite films, But then I went back and I watched it, with everything going in, and it's a little different, but I definitely overblew how different it was from the first one. I don't think it entirely takes you into another universe or anything like that. Like I can tell that it's a sequel to the first in the trilogy, the sequels. Um, but I don't know. I did like the sequels. I liked the prequels and well, the prequel like 2 and 3. I hate 1. Um and then I like the originals. But I think as far as my favorite Star Wars film, it's either Empire Strikes Back or I'd say A New Hope. And then after that, I mean it's Rogue One is right up there, who SM is saying Rogue One is the only new Star Wars that he likes. And look, I mean Rogue One was great. And it goes into 4 so perfectly, I already said that, but, can we give at least a shout out to Revenge of the Sith? I know it's a very sad movie, but it has to do its job, and so, I think there's a lot of people that get caught up in their favorite characters dying, like, say, I love Mace Windu, and by the way, I don't think Mace Windu is dead, but that's another story. But I don't know, I look at like Revenge of the Sith and I think a lot of people just kind of hate it because it's, the end of an era, but it's also like, what did you expect? We knew this was the prequel. It's telling the story of Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker. So what did you expect? It's not all, sunshine and rainbows. So when you look at its job and the fact in 2, the way it built up 3, with 2, showing the plans of the Death Star, Count Dooku showing them. I just think the way it all came together was done just so well. The first one though was too much Jar Jar Binks. It was George Lucas having way too much fun with his CGI, and I felt the first one was very disjointed. And honestly, the way Qui Gon Jinn dies is the most pathetic death. Well, besides Boba Fett, who ends up coming back from the dead or whatever you want to call it. Um, but yeah, I mean that's kind of like where I'm at. I think the prequels were great except for 1. I think the original trilogy is the best, and I think the new ones are pretty good.
Yeah, so to touch on episode 3, I actually like episode 3 more than most people. That
Same.
movie should have been split up into 2 movies, to be honest. And
Mm,
2 should have been episode 1, and it should have just gone that way, gave that plot a little bit more time to develop, more characters like the Clone Wars, the animated one, if you watch it in it's not in actually timeline order. You have to look that up. But if you watch in timeline order, the animated Clone Wars series, it does a better job of showing you that great storyline of the Clone Wars.
mm,
So episode 3 definitely should have been split up in 3, but it's a great story. But
yeah.
that's why I'm looking forward to the High Republic, is because it doesn't have attachment to canon. They can kind of play around with that time period because it's not really heavily talked about. Even a lot of the storylines, the alternative canon, whenever before Disney bought it and Lucasfilm wasn't touching canon, people wrote their own storylines, Thrawn and stuff like that. They didn't even touch the High Republic much. So you get a kind of, playground for anyone to step into and create their own stories and delve a little bit more into the lore, into parts of the lore that don't matter in people's hearts.
Yeah. I like that. And I think I'm really interested to see you say the High Republic. I'm interested to see what they do with the video games because I don't know if anybody has played Fallen Order, but like I would love to see Cameron Monaghan's character Cal Kestis get an opportunity in the TV series or something along those lines. And he was actually rumored to potentially be the Jedi that showed up at the end of Mandalorian. I'd
I
known
thought that who that was gonna be, actually.
I was
That's
I was
exactly who.
hoping it'd be him or Mace Windu. But who it was, and I don't want to spoil it because I assume not everybody's seen Mandalorian. But who it ended up being, I definitely understood it. It makes sense. And I definitely in Battlefront 2, yeah, exactly. Uh if anybody's played The Battlefront 2 campaign is the best campaign I've ever played. I think the Iden Versio story is phenomenal, and I would love to see them expand more on it. And I loved that, like they're getting more into the games now because, um, now I forget the guy's name, but anyway, the show leader for Mandalorian, he is a big fan of the games. And so he said the Iden Versio thing with the whole Operation Cinder, they actually referred to it. They referred to Operation Cinder, which has only been talked about in the game, which you play Operation Cinder. They referred to that in the Mandalorian episode, where they're at that base. So I thought that was really cool that they did that because that was a video game reference that has not been in any movie or any show.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting how they continue Mandalorian, the TV shows. To be honest, when they first initially announced The Mandalorian, I didn't have a lot of trust that they were going to do it great. I thought it was going to be an all right TV show, but it definitely blown me away. The technology they use for it is amazing.
I agree. And it's something that I feel like anybody can get involved with. There are people that are watching it, like friends of mine that have said, I just watch it because I like Baby Yoda. Like, I don't care if that's the reason you watch it, you're watching it. And so I think they're doing a good job of kind of reaching everybody. It feels like, I don't know. And it's not like too violent where I think it's also somewhat of a kid show as well. It's Star Wars violence, it's not you're not gonna see, like, blood and, like, heads getting chopped or arms getting chopped off and everything. I mean, obviously, I had to change what I was saying there because, obviously, Jango Fett's head gets chopped off in the prequels, but you know what I mean. SM is asking how we would rate Mandalorian, we would make I cannot even talk. How we would rate The Mandalorian as a show, at 1 out of a 10. I'm gonna let you go first.
I would give Mandalorian 8. I would say 8.5 if I could cheat. It is close to a 9 for me. The reason why it's not a 10 is there are some great episodes in The Mandalorian. Like you said, the one with Ahsoka Tano, I love that episode, Death. The one where they jump onto the cruiser and they have to take it over.
Mm,
Great gunfight in that one. But the problem is, especially with the first season, I feel like second season was a little better with this. They have some filler episodes,
they do.
and when you have filler episodes, they have to be interesting or tie directly into the main plot. The second season did a little bit better. For example, you had when they stopped on that ice planet, taking that woman and her eggs that Baby Yoda keeps on eating.
Oh, yeah.
They tied that into the storyline with them taking her back, and it was better done. And plus, it was a very well done episode with them running from the spiders. Like, those are good filler episodes, but the problem is free season didn't have a lot of those. So a few of those episodes drag down that score for me slightly. Of course, it can go higher with future seasons, but it was a lot better than I expected going into it, and I loved every second of season 2.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say SM, a 9, assuming we can't do decimals and everything, because I think it's not like, a 10 to me is Game of Thrones, and I know for people that hate the ending, I don't hate the ending, I understand that people hate the ending, I just look at the show besides the ending, how amazing the show was. To me, it's a 10 out of 10 show. The thing I love about Mandalorian is you get that cinematic feature. It's like watching a movie that continues to go on and on and on. And so I love that. I thought they made Mando Din Djarin like the best. Like he's just so awesome. And then Baby Yoda. I understand some got tired of him. I liked Baby Yoda a lot, Grogu. And then I liked Carl Weathers' character. I like Cara Dune. I mean, I can't stress this enough when I say this. Loved Ahsoka Tano. Wish she was in, longer than that. But and then I also love seeing Bill Burr. I thought Bill Burr was awesome. He was a very interesting character, very conflicted. kind of like Kylo, in a sense. Like Kylo Ren was very conflicted as well. Obviously, not as far out there, but you know what I mean. And I don't know. I think obviously, the guy that does Moff Gideon, it's I forget Juan Carlos. I forget his name. It's escaping me, but the guy that does Moff Gideon is just absolutely like the best guy that you could cast as a villain. So I think the casting's phenomenal. I think the setting's really cool. The first season was more of a cowboy, like it's like a space cowboy western type of thing. The vibe that I got, and I enjoyed that. The second season is more intergalactic type stuff, which I enjoy as well. So, yeah, I would say 9, and like I said, yeah, Game of Thrones to me would be like a 10. I think Mandalorian's one of the best shows that I've watched though. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the Star Wars shows moving forward. Now, Ashton, I don't want to spoil anything, but have you seen WandaVision at all?
I've seen episode 1 and 2, and I'll be watching episode 3 tomorrow morning.
Okay, cool. So I won't obviously spoil anything for people that haven't seen it, but what are your thoughts on like the black and white? Like how it's like almost like Dick Van Dyke Show esque, Twilight Zone esque. Like, do you think that added to the show or took away from it?
Uh, I definitely think it's added. It's a stylized thing.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of know more than most people because I read the comics too, so I kind of know the general storyline. I don't know the exact plot points,
Mm.
but I'll just say this: I feel like for what they're doing and what the show is, of course, it's not for everyone, but the stylized, it's so well crafted. And if you look, almost every inch of the screen is filled with details and love to that decade that they do each and every other episode. So, I enjoyed it. I'm not a sitcom guy. Everyone in my family knows I'm the person who almost hates sitcoms if it's not called The Office. So, I'm they tied it in with Marvel. I love Marvel, and so far I've enjoyed it. Now, I think it would grow a little tiring if the entire show is that over like 10 episodes, but I know it won't be. The jokes didn't hit as much as I wanted, but in general, it's solid and it's stylized, and I thought it worked out for him.
Yeah, I mean, I love Elizabeth Olsen, so I love getting to see more of Elizabeth Olsen, and Paul Bettany I think does a great job as well. Um, One thing I'll say is that I feel, and I keep in mind, I don't really have much knowledge with the comics. I didn't really read them, I didn't really follow them, so you probably know more than me, but I mean, I kind of feel like this is how they're going to kickstart like Fantastic Four, X-Men. Like I feel like this is going to be them introducing those to the world of the MCU. And I feel like
Well,
the new Avengers are coming as well.
well, they have said that this does tie in with Doctor Strange in some way.
Yeah.
That is something they officially said. And everyone knows that almost everyone and their brother who's a comic book character is getting a part in that movie because it's what is it, the multiverse of madness. So it's going to be a lot of interesting characters. You're going to see a lot of different actors from different time periods of different characters, and you're going to see interesting things, and they're starting to confirm the storylines, and I think Wanda has something to play in it. And it's interesting to me to see how the show itself breaks down and how she interacts with these people in this town. And I can it's safe to assume everyone knows that it's something is unnerving in this town, and everyone can feel it so far in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's trippy. It definitely is. It has like one of those weird. I don't know if you saw like if you watch Twilight Zone and all, but like that one episode where like the guy has that watch that stops time, and then he drops it, and then he's stuck in like he stopped time, and so he's stuck in his like own universe where he stopped time and like the watch broke. So like he's literally like living with like everybody frozen. Um, it kind of feels like that in a sense. Like that
Did
one
you ever
episode.
play Fallout 3?
Yes.
So you remember at near the very end where you get stuck in I think it's a vault,
Oh,
but it's a
Tranquility
dream
Lane.
sequence.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
Tranquility Lane. It's very much like that where something is off. Wait, everyone is very happy and perfect, but you know it's not happy and perfect, and it gives you that feeling.
N-
I
Yeah.
do like that kind of suspense, and as long as you give me a little hint here and there and you try to hint towards it and you tie it into the story and the ending, it could be a real treat if they do it well for the rest of the season. I think it's what, 6 more episodes?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I think yeah. So that's 6 more episodes, and I can't wait to be honest with you. I'm ready to get into the next phase of MCU. We missed an entire year. We're getting I think Eternals later on in the year. We're getting Spider Man. Black Widow got postponed again. I don't know when that movie's ever gonna come out. Same thing with Morbius, although that's Sony. But yeah, I'm really interested. Now, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I want to get your thoughts on Spider-Man 3 and where you think they're going with that because I've heard some people think that they're going to kill Peter Parker. Some people think that I mean Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Some people think that it's going to be mainly the three Spider-Men, and then they're going to have a multiverse, like a Spider-Verse type of movie. I don't think the Spider-Verse movie is going to be in three. I think they're going to set up for the Spider-Verse movie, but I don't think it's going to be in three. But I think they kind of made it look like it's going to be like Spider-Man meets John Wick in that he has to run away from everybody. I kind of feel like that's where we're going with that. I don't know if you ever saw John Wick 3, I think it is, where
Yeah,
yeah, you know then where he kills the guy on the um on the
Continental,
yeah, the
right?
Continental grounds and um then he's
He has to run.
excommunicado and has to yeah, exactly. So I think that's kind of where we're leaning. It sure would be interesting though if, say, Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Mysterio, Quentin Beck, shows up because I can tell you right now he's not dead. He's not. So, if he shows up, then obviously Spider-Man didn't kill anybody. But it'll be interesting. I don't know. What are your thoughts on everything going on with that?
Well, does Spider-Man come out before Doctor Strange?
I think it does. So I think Spider-Man comes out at the end of the year, and then
Yeah.
Doctor Strange
So
is 2022.
so I
I
think
think. I'll look that up while you're
Spider-Man
talking.
3 Spider-Man 3 is going to end up tying into the whole multiverse thing at near the end. It'll be kind of like a wink and a nod to Spider-Verse a little bit. You'll see some characters. It'll be probably like a final boss fight or something where they're going through the different periods or the different multiverses of Spider-Man, but then it ties into Doctor Strange, and I think Doctor Strange is probably going to be a bigger movie than people expect, with a lot of characters and a lot of people from like old movie franchises, like the old Spider-Man and stuff like that. So I I think they're saving Spider-Verse, the live action Spider-Verse movie, for like Spider-Man 4. That's my feeling on it. I could be wrong about that. I just don't think they would use that right now, early on in phase 4. I'm losing track of all the phases.
Yeah, I think it is phase four. It's the extra I can't even talk. The extraterrestrial phase, the sword phase. The intergalactic phase, I think is what I was trying to say. But yeah, it looks as though this is okay. So Sam Raimi is going to be directing it. So Sam Raimi, for those that don't know, he did Drag Me to Hell. So he's directed horror movies before. They've come out and said that straight up, this is gonna be a horror movie. This is gonna be the first MCU horror movie. I'm a big horror fan. I doubt this gets a rated R title because it shouldn't. But the cast that's confirmed: Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Elizabeth Olsen, Benedict Cumberbatch, Ryan Reynolds, Sam Raimi. He's confirmed to be in it. Rachel McAdams as Christine Palmer. Um, let's see. Tom Hiddleston, Benedict Wong, Tilda Swinton, and Chochi Gomez as Miss America. So that's the build cast at the moment.
Didn't they confirm Daredevil will be in it too?
Spider-Man. This is the Multiverse
Oh,
of Madness, though.
okay, okay. So he's confirmed in Spider-Man, not in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, yeah, no, I love all these though. When you talk about, you have these stories, you have these comic book stories. And again, I know this is like a sports channel, but we already kind of went over. I'm talking about whatever anybody wants to talk about. It's Ask Me Anything Friday. So when you look at like these, comic books and like all of these crazy storylines, like today I was watching Gotham, and I just think it's so cool how you know, when you look at Gotham, like I'm on season 1. I'm at the end of season 1 and I've already seen Cameron Monaghan as Joker. They haven't claimed him as Joker. He's Jerome, but I can tell he's going to be the Joker, and I have no spoilers or anything. I don't know anything. I'm just watching as I go. The Penguin, you see a young Bruce Wayne, you see Commissioner Gordon, who reminds me of the way Officer Phelps is in LA Noir. I Very easy to like. You have, Bullock, his partner in crime, Barbara, you have Selena Kyle as a kid, obviously Catwoman. And then you have guys like Victor Zaz shows up, and Fish Mooney's phenomenal in that show. I mean, I think she's a great character. But there's just so many, and it's crazy. Like the Red Hood, like I just saw the episode where like the Red Hood episode. So I don't know if you've seen Gotham, but it's so cool how these comic books and all these like stories and everything, they all kind of come together, and that's why I'm so excited for this next generation of MCU, because it seems like they're trying to bring it all together. And I feel like more so than ever people want to see, familiarity. I mean, nothing was more interesting to me than when I saw Cameron Monaghan playing Joker, as a kid. I mean, I thought that was really cool, and the whole dynamic and how he was, his mom is killed and he goes and he gets questioned by Commissioner Gordon, and then that whole scene where, the multiple personality disorder where he goes from like sad to like he starts like literally laughing out loud. It's just, I don't know, I think it's really cool to have all that those connections, especially like the Victor Zaz one. I thought that was pretty crazy. Um, but it's kind of like with the MCU though. They're gonna bring back Doc Ock. They're gonna bring back all of those guys. So they're gonna
Yeah, and
be
it's
cameos, but still, I like the fact they're bringing them back.
it's a testament to how strong the MCU is. I don't know if any other company will be able to replicate it ever again. Even Marvel itself. I honestly think once Kevin Feige is gone, I don't know how good Marvel will be. Just because you have to understand, you have to have such a attention detail to have all these plans out for years of not just one movie but multiple movies in a row to thread together one giant TV series that's all movies. It's incredibly hard to do. That's why you look at over at DC, like Batman's my favorite superhero, but man, they have messed up any movie that isn't solely just Batman's. Like
S-
Man of Steel, I have a soft spot for, but besides those two movies, like everything else has been average at best.
So
It,
I actually liked Wonder Woman a lot. I haven't seen Wonder Woman 84, but and let's see here. I came back to Star Wars and MCU. What did I miss? Oh boy, you missed a lot. Um, y'all gonna see Justice League, the new version? I still haven't seen the original, like the Justice League that came out, the newest movie. So I definitely need to check that out.
uh,
Um,
I will definitely go and see the Snyder cut when it comes out. I've only seen Justice League once
mm,
and Batman v Superman once because they both were so badly edited. They gave me a migraine after I watched both of them. Like, I'm not lying.
Oh,
I
the
had
shaky
such
cam?
a huge because it's so fast cut, it's badly edited, and it gave me such a migraine. So I'm hoping the Snyder cut doesn't have that issue, and I can rewatch that movie. Um, those two movies, but I know Batman v Superman has an extended edition. I just haven't gotten around to watching that.
Well, what do they film like movies like what's the frames per second? Does anybody know the frames per second when they film movies at? Like say like uh The Desolation of Smaug, like the Hobbit movies. Like what was the FPS on that?
Ooh, I I do think they filmed both Batman v Superman and Justice League with IMAX cameras on top of the regular traditional cameras too. So I know they had multiple choices in the cuts and like the angles and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up now because it's actually a cautionary tale. When they say that you could see it in this, frames per second, it's not always good in film. So let me just I'm gonna look this up right now. Hobbit. What was the Hobbit filmed in? Because I went and saw it. Not where. What was it? Okay. It was filmed in 48 frames per second. It was 24 frames per second in the movie theater. So guess what Jake saw? Jake saw the 48 FPS and it ruined the movie for me. it like so I saw the Desolation of Smog or Smaug or however you pronounce it at my movie theater, and they had a special showing of the 48 FPS, which I've
Ooh,
never seen. Never, folks, listen to me. If you ever listen to anything I ever say, this is the thing to listen to, okay? Never go see the 48 frames per second movie of any kind because it's not cinematic and it looks like you're chilling there on a countryside taking film yourself and you're watching a movie that way. It's like too lifelike and it takes you, there's no immersion. It takes you completely out of it. It's,
yeah, but just with Justice League, I'm excited for the Snyder cut. I know he didn't get to put that movie together because of tragedy, but that movie was a mess after he left it, and I'm it'll probably be, to be honest, Jake, it's gonna be a Frankenstein movie. It probably won't be that great. I don't see how it could be any better than the regular version. But it's just DC rushed it because they saw Marvel was bringing in dumpsters full of money in the back with all the stuff they're doing. So they're like, oh, yeah, that looks easy. Let's just go ahead and do that. And they skipped any character development. That's the key. People got invested with the Marvel characters, most of them who were a lot less known than any DC character, by having good movies with character development on the heroes. Now, Marvel is notoriously bad with not being able to develop their villains, with a few exceptions. But DC, it's like they didn't even get that far. And their best movies have been like Aquaman, Man of Steel, the ones where they actually tried to develop the character.
yeah, I think they really need to consider going back and focusing on Batman. I mean, I just throw the bag at Christian Bale and I would focus on Batman because I think the issue they ran into, and I know some people will disagree with me on this, but the issue they ran into is they tried so hard to go up against Marvel, with their Justice League, and I could not have felt any less interested in the Justice League. I'm gonna check it out, but I still have never watched it, and that speaks volumes because I do like the DC comics. First off, was really excited for the Flash movie that never came out. Second, was really excited for the fact that they were building up Robin as Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Robin at the end of the Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, and it was like, oh yeah, by the way, we built up Robin in like the after credits, but nothing came of it. So it was like such a
So
waste of that.
so Henry asked, "What can DC do to break out in movies? Make good movies."
Yeah.
That's been their problem, and have good storylines and ideas. Like I don't know, Jake. Are you familiar with Batman Beyond? Like it would be a cool
Yeah.
movie, one shot movie to bring back Christian Bale and make him the old Batman, and cast a young Alec. I think it's McGinnis is his name from the TV show.
Alec McGinnis.
Yeah, yeah, Alec McGinnis, and have a one-shot movie. Maybe you can make it a trilogy. If people really like it, and it's something different that people haven't seen. Not the same old Batman story we've seen over and over.
Well, here's the common misconception, and I understand again, some people may not like hearing this, but Batman is the Spider-Man of of Marvel. But here's the thing, okay? The MCU was done so perfectly. The MCU, as you can see, Julian Sniper, the MCU blueprint was perfect. Exactly. The MCU was done so perfectly that they made you care about Hawkeye, about uh, Wanda, about Scarlet, not Scarlet Witch. What's her face? I almost said Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow.
The Black Widow. Yeah, you made me blank on it.
Yeah. So they made you care about those characters, and they made Iron Man the focal point. But who sells the most merchandise for Marvel? It's always been Spider-Man. Who has the most rich background of villains? It's Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man's the most popular. So it's the same thing with DC. Batman, as great as Superman was, or I'm not a huge Superman fan. I'll just say that right now. But I know a lot of people love him and Christopher Reeve, all that. Superman didn't have the bad guys that Batman has. Batman has so many villains. It's ridiculous. I mean, even like the lesser known ones like Killer Croc and like Calendar Man, like I mean, there's so many. And it's like
He has A tier villains. He has a whole list of A tier villains where
exactly.
Superman has two.
That's the thing. It's like it's Lex Luthor and then who else? The
Doomsday,
what's his name?
Doomsday, and
Oh, yes, Doomsday. And then the other guy, oh, the guy from outer space. I forget. Yeah, I don't remember
I
his
just
name.
think of him as Black Thanos. I forget his name right now.
Oh, well,
He's basically DC's Thanos.
yeah, and then they have Bizarro. But that's it. That's literally it. That's it for Superman. Black
But Bizarro is a copy and paste Superman, so does he count?
well, that's exactly what I mean. So then you have Batman, you have Batman, and you have Mister Freeze. You have Catwoman. You could arguably say is bad, whatever you want to call. You have Victor Zaz. You have Scarecrow. You have Joker. You have Bane. You have Harley Quinn. Who else do you have? You have Killer Croc, like I mentioned, Calendar Man. Um, who,
You have the head of the Ninja Order. What's his name?
oh
Ra's al Ghul.
yeah, Rachel Ghul.
Yeah,
You have Solomon Grundy. What
yeah.
Clayface?
He has so many rogues, so many good. Penguin. I don't know if you said him.
Black Mask, Penguin. No, I did not say Penguin. Harvey
Red
Dent,
Hood.
Two Face, Red Hood. Um, I mean, come on, folks. He's got all those villains and this is the thing. Spider-Man. You have Doc Ock. You have the Vulture. You have Electro. You have Shocker. You have I almost said Cobblepot. That is funny. Hammerhead. You have Fisk. You have Green Goblin, Hobgoblin. You have Chameleon. I'm
You have emo Peter Parker.
yeah. Venom, if you want to say that. Carnage. Who else you have? Mysterio.
Craven.
Craven the Hunter, yeah. And someone's SM said Riddler. So I just feel like at the end of the day, you have Spider-Man, and if the MCU wasn't good, then it would be like Spider-Man needs a trilogy like you saw with The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises. With
Oh,
Batman, you don't have that MCU to support you. And so you literally need to ride that. And so I think the Wonder Woman movie was good, but was it really good, or have my expectations been so lowered by DC that I just am like, yeah, it was good. Like personally, I'll say this, X-Men, I thought X-Men had great stuff, but Fox ruined it. And I'll say the first one was good. X2 was good. The Last Stand should be burned because Brett Ratner destroyed the entire series. But then they come out with First Class, and I love First Class. It's one of my favorites. And then they come out with Days of Future
ooh.
Past, which they erase all of Brett Ratner's crap from the third. They erase it, and then they do the other one, Apocalypse, and Apocalypse is really good, I thought. And then the last one, Dark Phoenix, I enjoyed. I thought Dark Phoenix was really good. People hated it, but I would watch Dark Phoenix over and over again before I watch any of the other DC movies except for The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, and Batman Begins. That's where I'm at in that. And plus, I'll say this, I think Batman Begins was a weak movie. I think Batman Begins, the whole point of Batman Begins is that it started that trilogy, but Dark Knight is what really pushed Batman into the limelight, in my opinion. Batman Begins was somewhat big because it's Batman. It was not as big as Dark Knight. Dark Knight was revolutionary, and I think it's one of the best films I've ever seen because of the way every shot is filmed. They do so many crazy things where to show you that like Joker and like how he changed, like he's so what's the word I'm looking for, cerebral. He actually gets in Batman's head to the point where they change the way that they're filming it and the way like the perspective. So when they tilt the film camera, that they're basically saying now Joker has all the cards in the room where he's ironically being questioned by Batman. So I just thought they had so many of those things there. They had the really eerie music. Heath Ledger was amazing, rest in peace. Obviously, Christian Bale was an amazing Batman. I liked Commissioner Gordon. Harvey Dent's character art was great. You know, I just thought overall that those movies, or rather, that movie was so good. It could arguably be the best superhero movie, and it's not even. He's not my favorite superhero. I love Batman. He's my favorite DC hero, but my favorite would be Spider-Man. And then honestly, I didn't love Iron Man until I watched Robert Downey Jr. absolutely rock the role.
Yeah, I guess Henry Ford is asking, do you want them to keep on trying to set up a cinematic universe with each movie? He's talking about DC.
Hmm.
Or do you want them just to start adventure movies that are just dumb fun and don't really set anything up? Uh, I'll say it like this. You can do a cinematic universe. You just have to do things near perfect to tie it all together. It's easier said than done. um, I hope DC gets it together because I prefer the cinematic universe model because when everything works, it's so rewarding. I know I'm not the only person. When I watch Endgame, I rewatched it like last week, and man, that movie, growing up with it and then seeing all the storylines come together, it's like a great TV ending, and I will always remember that for the rest of my life. And it was just a great movie on top of that.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you there. I actually watched it with my best friend, and I watched it with Alexis. She came up for the draft. Um, it was in 2019, and she came up for the draft, and she ended up staying, and we saw the movie before the draft, and I mean, like she had tears in her eyes. I mean, it was a movie that, it definitely pulled on your, heartstrings, and they did such a nice job of that. And that was, the Russo brothers and just everybody in general over at, with Marvel and Disney, they kind of combined and they made that happen. And it all started really with Iron Man, which is pretty crazy because they didn't really have Spider-Man's rights until Civil War. So they couldn't even get Spider-Man in the MCU until Civil War. They hammered out a deal and made it happen. So I just think it's so impressive with what they were able to do and how they made it look like that was their plan all along. One thing I'll say though, I think their plan all along was to get Spider Man. I think it just took longer than they expected because they planted the seed when a young Peter Parker can be seen wearing the Iron Man helmet, or rather Iron Man mask. When Iron Man is, if somebody's
in
about to
Iron Man
blast
2.
him, yeah, it's an Iron Man 2. When somebody's about to blast him and Iron Man picks him up, that's actually Peter Parker in the MCU. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it takes a lot of building time and investment to get that big reward in that team up movie. And I think that's where DC made their mistake. Is they kind of went straight into the team up movie in Batman v Superman, really. And you didn't get invested in either character in that movie because you didn't have enough time with either. And so you went into Justice League with what? Three movies: Wonder Woman, Batman v Superman, and Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Not enough time with any of these characters to get remotely invested in them. And that's if it was a good movie, and it wasn't a good movie on top of that. So moving on, they need to just take it slowly. It takes time, Henry. That's my opinion. And you got to make good movies, and eventually, if you make good movies, you make enough money, do that uh team up movie and do it well. And if you do it well, people love these characters for a reason. You just got to use them right.
No, I definitely agree, and I think you said it pretty much how I was, thinking as well. Julian Sniper said I enjoyed Wolverine. SM actually mentioned Riddler. I totally forgot about Riddler. I don't know why. Um,
Yeah, I think someone said Brainiac too. I forgot Brainiac. He's a big Superman guy too.
oh yeah, Brainiac. There you go. Yeah. Well, actually here's an interesting thing. So we talked about Star Wars. We talked about the fact that Star Wars, the potential of them adding, like, combining what their content is with the video games, like adding the video game content into their story. And they've already kind of shown that they could do that, with their campaign with, Operation Cinder, and then mentioning it in Mandalorian. Um, could I not make the argument that maybe DC might be better off capitalizing off a game that people love in Arkham, just the Arkham series, and just, making rebooting Batman and just making it along those lines? Because I honestly am starting to wonder if an Arkham City type of movie could be done extremely well and maybe put themselves back on the map.
I mean, Batman is built kind of as a great character to make movies off of. I almost think as long as you give a talented director that character and you let him run, they're gonna make a great movie. Like I think this upcoming Batman movie, with the actor from, geez, what is it? Twilight? Yeah. Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson's a great actor. I think he's gonna surprise a lot of people who don't know his
I agree.
filmography. He is a hell of an actor, and I think a lot of people are gonna be like, "Wow, this is a great Batman. I didn't expect it." So I think that movie is gonna be great. They could definitely go the Arkham route. I hope it doesn't end the same type of way as like
Same.
Arkham Knight did. I didn't like that story arc, but in general, like those movies were, or not movies, games were so well done story wise. It's definitely a tactic they could take.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that. And one last thing, and then I'm probably gonna head out because it's almost midnight here, and I'm gonna head out of the office. Gotta prepare for tomorrow. But, um, what were your thoughts? You, Ashton, and then everyone else in the chat. What were your thoughts on the Joker movie? Because personally, I thought it was incredible. I thought they did a phenomenal job with it. The score's phenomenal. The acting was just next level, and I found myself really attached to the Joker movie. I was hoping they'd make a sequel. We'll see if they ever do. But I think they were really building something special there. It was just really nicely done, I felt like. And I know people say that was a ripoff of like The King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. I don't think it was a ripoff. I think there was obviously,
It
um
took inspiration.
yeah, there's some inspiration, but at the end of the day, you can't just say it was a total ripoff. I don't think that's not fair. And if it was a total ripoff, then why is Robert De Niro taking part of it? So,
Y-
that's what
Um,
I would say. But what were your
I
thoughts on
I
Joker?
I loved it. I love that movie to death. It was so well done. At least in my opinion, I was hoping they would put this Joker in with the new Batman.
Hmm.
It because he's such a unique Joker compared to the other ones, and that's why I like the character Joker. There's a lot of different takes you can, go with him. Even though the Joker in Suicide Squad is Lord Awful, like
Oh,
Jared Leto. Nah, but Joaquin Phoenix takes it a much more cerebri. I can't say that word, cerebral. Um,
hmm.
you see the slow. It's like a slow moving train wreck, and you know it's bad, but you want to watch it because of how bad it is, and you can really see someone start to lose grip with reality because all the bad things happening in his life. And
Yeah.
it's a really good story. uh, it's a really good character driven story. And honestly, that's the type of movie DC needs to do to build into other movies. And then you can start teaming up with different characters. Like if he's in the Batman, that would be great because you're invested in that character now. You know what he's gone through, and you can see he has good in him, and well, he is crazy. So it's like you can kind of build off of that. Now, I don't think Phoenix wants to be in a bunch of different team up movies, but I hope they do a second one. Just that character alone is interesting. I wonder if they try to pit him against maybe a Gordon if they're not gonna have Batman at all with that character in that series. It'll, I think Gordon would be a good kind of sequel nemesis for him. He like is trying to solve a murder or the murder committed by Joker, trying to track him down, and it's a cat and mouse type movie the whole way. Take inspiration from that kind of from older movies that are cat and mouse, kind of like you can go off of some of the Hannibal Lecter movies almost with it. That could be inspiration. I think they could do a lot of amazing things with that character.
I agree. And I know was it Todd Phillips, the director? I know he's not a fan of the sequel, and he's also not a fan of the idea of Batman being in the same universe as this Joker. He says this Joker belongs standalone. I know it's kind of like an art type of thing. Like they look again. It's a. I was saying it earlier, and you kind of allude to it. It's them being so close to what they're creating that they're not seeing the problem with that outside of it. Because the fans aren't looking at like, wow, this is just a great masterpiece that we don't like. Fans are gonna want a sequel, you know, and sequels and reboots are ruining movies, but they're also adding on to movies. And fans at the end of the day want a sequel. And I think that they should get it, but they're
Well,
obviously not gonna make one without, somebody like Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, I also don't think Joaquin Phoenix is okay. Like you kind of alluded to that. I don't think he's okay with sticking around with keep in mind these actors have such limited careers in their prime. And so I don't think a lot of these actors want to get caught up in like an MCU unless like you're either cut out for it or you're not. And I think that's the thing is like a lot of actors in interviews have said like even um Adam Driver, he was like there were times where I was like, I didn't really want to be Kylo Ren that long. I didn't want to be in 3 movies. I didn't want to be stuck in Star Wars. I want to do other projects. I don't want to be called Kylo Ren. I don't want to be the guy that was Kylo Ren. I don't want to be called Ben Solo. I want to be Adam Driver. I want to be somebody that can play all roles. And so, now of course there's speculation now that he just signed another deal to be in some sort of movie or some sort of project. But that's neither here nor there. I guess I understand why Joaquin Phoenix wouldn't want to be like stuck in this movie series, but I think it would work.
well, I definitely agree with you. He's gonna have trepidation, but the whole sequel thing, like sequels can work. Look at T2, like Terminator 2. That's a great movie. The first one was great by itself, but then they made a sequel that is a lot better because it was a great quality movie and built upon its predecessor. Nothing says, nothing is saying Joker 2 can't be even a better movie if they put love and care into it. The problem is like especially in the last 10 years, it once a movie proves to make money, they'll rush the sequel. They won't
Yeah,
put that love and care into it.
that's true.
And you can't do that with a character like Joker because people love him, and especially are getting attached to this one in the sense of his development and like where he's going, and people want to see that. Like you said, the fans want to see it because it was well done.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was so perfect, to be honest with you. Just every little detail of that movie I enjoyed. Henry Ford says the Joker's 5 stars, 10 out of 10. After I watched the movie, I treated people with respect more because the movie almost showed you that anyone can be Joker when they are pushed to the limit by society. That's what I meant. DC should just make movies like the Joker that are comics in the big screen, a story of your favorite comic book characters. Uh, I agree with that, and I think the Joker had a positive message, with that, kind of highlighting mental illness, and you could enjoy the movie for what it was and like just the art, but I think there's some people that just took it so offensively, and I don't think that's what Todd Phillips was trying to drive. Plus, it's Hollywood, so you're that's not where they're going with that, and I don't know. I agree with the way Henry Ford took that movie because that's how I took it. Like I took it as like it is art in a sense, but it's also, they were trying to drive home a message about mental illness and,
Well,
I do agree with that as well.
it's a fact of life.
Yeah.
People break because of bad circumstances.
Mm.
And like in my opinion, you have to be able to realize that like you can't get mad at a World War II movie for showing D-Day. Like how dare they show all these people get butchered on the beach? That's what happened.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean you can do it in a disrespectful way? No, and they weren't doing this Joker movie in a disrespectful way, at least in my opinion. They were careful to show you all the nuanced parts of like a good person turning bad, and that doesn't mean the actions he did are justified or good. They're still bad and evil, but it just showed you that people are complex and they go through changes, and that can be good changes sometimes, and sometimes it can be very bad, and people break. It's part of the reason why people get radicalized in different crazy ideologies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't say it better myself. You're spot on in that take. And Daryl Sanders says thought this was about football. WTF? LOL. So Daryl, to bring you up to speed, unless you've been in here the whole time and haven't said a word, um, we're pretty much just doing an Ask Me Anything Friday. I had my piece earlier in the podcast or whatever. I say podcast all the time because I've recorded over 300 of them, but over this show we really started off hammering out the quarterbacks and talking about football and just answering questions and having people in the Discord and talking Jared Goff and Rams and all sorts of stuff. Chargers, yeah, and then really what it came down to is I think there were some questions about Star Wars. I think I mentioned something and that led to questions, and then again it's Ask Me Anything Friday, so and it's also not the the stream doesn't have like 180 people in it right now like it normally does. So I'm pretty much leaving it all out to you guys. Plus, I got my guy Ashton here, Rams fan. He is in the Discord. So we've just been talking that.
Nerding it up, and it's fine. I love talking football. I love talking Star Wars and Marvel and all that fun stuff. And I hope people respect that because it's your channel. And they don't have to watch it. They don't want to in this point in time. Uh, if you have a football question and we have the time, or Jake has the time, you always feel free to come on a live stream and ask them.
Yeah, I answer all questions, or at least try to. I mean, it's easier today because we're not getting as many comments. But Ashton, I don't know if you were here yesterday or the day before, but it was like over 200 people were in here at once. And keep in mind, I'm so thankful. I'm not complaining. And it was just like over 200 people were in here at once. And this chat bar was just impossible to follow to the point where I had people dropping donations so they could use the super chat so I could see their chat. Which is a good idea, by the way. But it was pretty crazy. I have had some significant growth with this channel, and again, it's a Friday night, so like, I mean, I understand it's not going to be super packed or anything like that. So, I think a peak we hit, I think close to 50, which isn't bad. Um, but yeah, we had some fun. We talked about the Rams, we talked football, we talked about Star Wars, MCU, DC, had some good conversation. I had my guy Ashton on, and well, I think that's gonna do it. So hope you guys enjoy. Oh, what's your favorite football movie? SM says. Ashton, let's wrap this one up. You tell me. Well, tell us your favorite football movie, and then I'll say mine, and then we'll call it.
Ooh, it has to be. It's a guilty pleasure movie. I know it's The Longest Yard, and it's the newer one with Adam Sandler. It's a bad movie, but it makes me laugh every time. A lot of people will cringe when they hear that. It's just one of the first football movies I ever watched, and I liked it before I even liked football. I only started liking football in 2014 and 2015.
Mm.
So yeah, I started liking football because the Rams moved back to LA and I was born in LA. So I was like, well, I'll try to start fitting in more with people by liking football. And, it worked out for me. And The Longest Yard was always an entertaining movie, funny, good laughs. Bad movie, but still funny.
So I do. Invincible is pretty awesome because like Dick Vermeil is part of that. Um, but I'm gonna probably I don't know. The Blind Side was amazing. Rudy's a good movie. The Blue Mountain State movie deserves recognition, even though there's like no football played. Um, I'll probably, I'm gonna go with the Blind Side. We just had a prospect that came on our show. That interview has not come out yet, so stay tuned. But we had a prospect that came on our show, and he said like he was a diehard like Michael Oher fan, and he loved the Blind Side, and oh, We Are Marshall's a good one too. But yeah, I mean, I think the Blind Side, Michael Oher's story is so cool. Um, Remember the Titans? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Hey Jake, do you think the Rams should have wore a 91 patch for Kevin Green? Absolutely. But I think it was so late in the season when he died that I don't think they didn't have time to do that. I think you have to submit that to the league for approval to get the patch because it's considered a modification of a uniform, and you can get fined a lot of money for that. Are there any inside linebackers you think the Rams should go after in the draft? I'd say Dylan Moses, but that's all the time we have. I love y'all, Ashton. If you want to say goodbye to everyone, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Jake. Thanks everyone for listening. It was really good conversations about a lot of different topics.
Absolutely. Oh, Ashton, where can they find you on Twitter?
Well, they can find me at Ram Fan Ashton. I'm always on there hitting it up with Ramley up on there and anyone on NFL. Basically, love talking football and love talking basically anything nerdy.
Absolutely, man. Hey, we'll be in touch as always. Thanks again. Appreciate you. It was fun talking with you. And guys, anytime, you want to come on, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have obviously I'm gonna give you my 2 cents on a topic. We're gonna have some fun with the live stream. I'll answer any relevant questions. I'll answer any appropriate questions. And you guys can just hop on Discord, get in here, and come on live, and we'll talk right here. Rams house. So appreciate you guys. Love y'all. You guys take care. And if you like me, I'll be back tomorrow. Well, regardless if you like me or not, I'll be doing it tomorrow night. Hopefully, we'll have more content to talk about. But be sure to check out the AJ show tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern time to 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Rams time. Again, if you have any questions or anything, you can always feel free to reach out to me at JKBoganDTSN on Twitter. Love y'all. Peace out.